All right, welcome everybody to another episode of the Writer's Cut. This is episode 3, and I'm here with the one and only, the creator, artist, the madman behind Def, Joe Ball. What's going on, Joe?
I'm here. I'm here, and I'm loud, and I'm proud
Right.
of something. Yeah, let's here to talk some comics, some creation, and some process, and be a little bit silly at the same time.
That's right. We'll say hail to Omega Arts. What up, brother? Thank you for
What up,
joining
man?
us. Now, Joe, well, I go and tweet this out to everybody, let them know that we're live. Why don't you tell everybody what you're working on currently?
Well, I'm working on a mishmash of things right now. My main book, obviously, Death. I'm in the lettering and sound effects, I guess you'd say, like phase of it. I'm trying to get that wrapped up so that we can get these proof copies made. And that's just been an absolute chore. It's like no matter how far ahead I get, I always feel like I'm still at the beginning. Let's see. I'm doing some sketch cards for your Ace Volume 3 campaign that is up and coming.
Yes.
I'm doing some doing some sketch cards for Phil Diaz's Lost Pages. I believe is it 3 or is it 4?
Yes, I'll pay this 3, yeah.
Okay, so two book 3s, so the numbers are already aligning. And a few other little oddball things I'll keep to myself for now till the creators decide they want to make it known. I'm working on a cover for a red hot little project me and you's doing. I'll let you dictate how much you want to talk about that.
Yeah, we're gonna hold on to that for a little longer, but yeah, we got
Right
something
on.
cooking.
Yeah.
Don't worry, people. We know we got you. We always got you guys.
Yeah, we're cooking,
Count
baby.
on
No
us.
seed oils. But we're making sure
Definitely not.
Brandon's okay.
Brandon's tracking us 24/7, making sure there's no seed oils anywhere near the hard line. So
Did
just
you say cooking? Pushes glasses up nose. What kind of Earl are you using today? It's like, Earl? You're not from New Orleans, dude. Knock it off. And I'm trying to think, is there anything else right this minute? And me and Shane Mess, the co-owner of our publishing house, King Toad, which Ace, we'll talk more about that in the future too. Will be working a little closer with us, kind of have like a dual business friend creator relationship going here in the future. As that progresses, you guys will hear more. We're getting our website going as well for the company, and just in case things with like Indiegogo and that kind of stuff just persist with the shadow bans. But we're working on Swarm as well. Shane just sent me a new batch of pages to do some lettering tweaks on. But I think we're like 30 pages in out of the 48-ish that he's doing the book. So that one's really pumping along real good. It's already being colored. I think we're already colored up to like maybe page 25, 30, somewhere right there. So that's Shane's gig though. That's his project. He's in charge of that. So he's been grinding the gears and keeping that thing moving. So even though Death is still being worked on, these things we're doing now we're trying to get as much done before we launch. So it's like a direct to print kind of thing. The minute we got enough cash in the bank to send that thing to the press, that's what we're doing. So how about yourself, Ace?
Oh man, I
Or
got
do you want me
a
to keep
lot of
talking?
fires. No, you're good. I just tweeted out everybody. Please share and like and all that fun stuff. Trying to get to 300 subs on this channel. Trying to grow it. I was kind of slacking off, but had to take care of fulfillment. Update on fulfillment. Obviously, the Ace was done at the end of the year, so everybody's copy should be in their homes by now. Anybody has any issues, they could always contact the campaign email. It'll get right to me, but that's done. I just sent out the last packages of Bloodbone. Sadly, I had under ordered by like 4 copies, so the last couple people had to wait a little longer, but I got it out to you guys. There should be again to you by the end of the week. And yeah, just breaking news. I just put up just launched my Drawn Aces Etsy store. I put up 20 copies of Bloodbone. They're the last Ashcans left. They won't be replenished. The foil Ashcan, all that stuff is like a one-time only kind of thing. I only had these copies, like I said, because I under ordered. So I put them up on the Etsy store. Somebody already bought one, so thank you, dude. I should be out tomorrow. Yeah, I have like 19 left, and if anybody backs up, I'll throw in some couple extra goodies, your way, just as a thank you. So yeah, go check that out. And like I said, Ace Volume 3 coming in September, so it's gonna be good.
All kinds of fun stuff on the way this year.
Well,
And
yeah,
it's a
lots of
catch.
good
We're
stuff.
always chugging along and working along and trying to make the best of each 12-month segment as best we can. That's how we break our lives down and live these days. So
Yeah,
every
very
year
much.
counts. There's no lost years.
Yeah, like I said, like as the year goes on, we'll be showing more cool art and stuff that's already kind of in the can. We're just kind of holding it till the time is right to make the announcements and everything. But there's a lot of cool stuff coming. But speaking of cool stuff, this is the writer's cut, where we go over, or at least I go over some of my the stories I've written. We've covered the Ace Volume 1. We've covered the short story I did for Alterna called Raid of the White Leopard. And now we're going to the Ace epilogue here. This is on the first issue of
You're roboting on me a little bit there. Oh, is that my internet? Or is that Ace's? Well, gang, I'll keep talking just in case. It's me. I can't tell yet. I'm gonna check on my other computer. Yeah, Ace has just been chugging away on these Ace books. Hires a lot of people, does a lot of great work. He's very in tune with the superhero genre and how to write it good and write it appropriately. Okay, it looks like we're still live, so just me for the time being. I'm sure Ace will be back here in a minute. But yeah, he's got this epilogue book here. Let me check my copy because I have it here. I believe Sweens did this. Yeah. Okay. So this is going to be the epilogue from Ace Volume 1. Sweens, a.k.a. Sean Sweeney of Odyssey. He does the artwork on this. It looks like he draws and colors all of it, as far as I can tell. But yeah, it looks kind of like a typical Ace bounty hunting good times on here. So yeah, hopefully when Ace gets back, we can actually pull it up on screen here so y'all can see it. We get more details about it, but Sweens really did do it more gritty. Get a little bit of that desert planet.
all right, am I back?
All right, yep, I hear you loud and clear, brother. I just had the book out and was talking about it, the epilogue a little bit while we were waiting.
Yeah, all right, thank you. Yeah, like my internet just went nuts right there.
Mine's been up and down too. In fact, now I'm not sure because my YouTube screen is going all crazy. Okay, it must have just been running on a delay. I think we're fine.
Yeah, I was seeing you, but I was had that white ring of death. So
All right, yeah, it looks like we're good.
all right, sorry about that,
All
guys.
right, so back to the epilogue.
Yeah. So the epilogue story is kind of like an overarching thing that's going to be played out over the next issues. It's going to play out probably maybe 7 or 8 issues down the line where you kind of really get the full picture. But with each one, you'll get a little bit more of the picture. It's kind of like a mystery piece. Something that's inspired by Lost. We got somebody else in the chat. I'll say hail to them.
Hey, what's up,
Accidental
Oracle?
Oracle. Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Dude, I'm just realizing, looking at this, that the Ace's ship is really not that much different from the the small transport ships I use in that for King Blood's army.
That's awesome.
Like, it wasn't intentional, but I'm looking at it like, oh damn, I almost copycatted a ship. Thank God I put like at least one round
Oh,
engine on it
look,
to make it a
look
tad
who's here.
different. Oh, what's up, Beacon?
The one and only Mr. Beak himself, creator of Seven Legions, fantastic colorist. He
Yeah,
did
he
some stuff
really
for
is.
Volume 2. So, yeah, nice to see you. Well, you got to join us on the Hardline tomorrow if you can.
Good old Beacon.
Yeah. So, yeah, Sweens actually came up with that ship design. I don't know where he got the inspiration from, but yeah, like he came up with that whole design and like a couple little fun twists that he put in this book. So yeah, he did a killer job. So I
It's
go
almost
through.
a touch HR Geiger. Like, it has these like Geiger wings, but kind of a spaceship body. It's like a weird in between.
Yeah,
It's cool though.
I love this little opening spot here. The little red box. It says Kane System Quadrant 28.14. If anybody gets that, it's a Green Lantern fan. It's a tribute to the great Gil Kane and John Broome, who created Hal Jordan and the stuff that we know from Green Lantern.
Yeah.
So I was a little shout out to them. See that cool ship with the thrusters firing. Seeing that orange planet in the back. See a different look from Ace here. Not the typical color scheme, but I said we'll get into that as more epilogues run along. And I love that bottom panel there. You know, just like you seen the speed and then like his reflection. I like the panel that's glowing. Really, there's a really nice touch there.
Yeah.
And with these, there won't be too much dialogue, but you know everything happens for a reason. You see the ship landing down, and you see Ace grabbing his gun. He's looking. Then he goes into that predator mode here, which is another cool little thing Sweens did. Exits the ship. Then you see a little cameo by a certain red dress wearing PG member. You know, just amazing. He paid to be in the book and he still hasn't read it yet after like 4 years. Love the dedication. We scroll down, we see Ace taking out the android there who looks kind of familiar. And we see him taking out another. This is probably my favorite panel in the whole thing. Like he just like dipping the blade right through that robot. Really nice.
Yeah, dude, it's a good slurpy slurk.
Yeah.
all the spray coming out of him.
And then you got the page here. Breaks into the prison. Sees this shark creature tied up. And then finally, you get some dialogue. Says, I knew Akula would come through for me. Says, hurry up and release me. He says, Akula didn't send me. And he pulls out the blade, the little snit right there. As looks like the shark is in some trouble. And that's
I like how even his tail is like bolted down to the wall.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, you don't really get too much from it. You can think like oh, we got somebody else in the chat here. Shani. Thank you for joining us.
One of my millions and millions of the Rocks fans. I have to
course.
call it the Rocks fans still.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Yes. I'm sure there'll be controversies and sports centers blowing up right now, but we're here talking comics.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, like I said, the story doesn't really give you too much, but I think it does give you a couple little things that you can kind of question and kind of see more of it. I think the volume 2 1 kind of continues that. We'll get into that in another episode. So yeah, it's a really kind of fun overarching story that I came up with when I was launching the Ace. To have like the secondary story where I can kind of play around and eventually it'll connect with the main story, and I think it'll be an interesting way. So keep people guessing. I kind of like that mystery part. You just got to stick the landing. So
I was waiting for that shark to get his face ripped off, though.
yeah, that's the thing. It ends on a cliffhanger. You don't know what's
Yeah.
gonna happen. And like I said, the nod to Akula, which you saw in the main volume 1, just these little hints about stuff. So yeah, Joe, how about you? How do you approach the world building and all that kind of stuff that you're setting up for Def? This is like your big magnus opus. This isn't like some little book. You got 300 pages, and so you got a lot to tell, man. How do you go about setting all that up?
Well, like, there's a lot of um, story. Like, I don't know if this is just specific to comics, but it's just where I picked it up from. But I did so many sample scripts back in the day for like the bigger studios of the time. And after a while, you start to realize all the sample scripts are the same. Like, it's the same premise. Like, you lead character for a little bit through the world that they're actually in, so you get to see the environment or where they're at, and that helps add world building to a event or to some action or to something happening. And even if it's only like 3 pages, it's beginning, middle, end. Beginning, he's walking through town. Page 2, aliens land. Surprise. Page 3, they get ready to fight. Like, it's super easy to like break down these kind of setups. So in my brain always thinks very cinematically. So like a lot of what I do for world building is um shots that tell the story, but it's not necessarily of specifically what's happening at that point in the story. So like, yeah, maybe what I'm getting to is these two characters in a lab, but I'm going to show the city from a distance, and I'm going to show the maybe the main building a little closer, and some of the hustle bustle on the streets, or some of the vehicles or whatever that's within the world, and then go deeper till you're in the lab. Like, I'll spend a few panels here and there to just establish places and times of day and how things look at different times. So little things like that is how I do a lot of world building. I try not to have characters just say things out loud that would be thoughts, but I also don't want to put down too many thoughts on the page, like too
Yeah.
much inner narration, because
Mhm.
let's be honest, if most of us had our like wandering thoughts monitored, it would be the biggest bunch of nonsensical
Yes.
bullshit you've ever seen. Like, it's
Yeah.
not gonna all be like interesting, deep monologues to oneself about life in the future and what they're going to do with themselves. So
Yeah, for sure.
that's why you got to be slick with how you're telling the stories and how you're presenting the actual like panel work and the layouts, and forcing people's eyes to move from the top of the page to the bottom, and stuff like that. It's a lot of, I don't want to call them tricks because they're not really tricks, but it's basically a lot of rules that if you follow these basic rules, it'll generally get you a good result. If you're at least like a mediocre level talent, it'll get you a pretty high level result. So, and it's a
Yeah,
good exercise to go through.
yeah, definitely, man. To answer Shani's question, I'm the writer of the Ace. I hire very talented creators to actually draw it. This epilogue story was colored and drawn by Sweens, who did the book Oddity, which was crowdfunded a year ago, probably. It came out on
Yeah.
Indiegogo. So yeah, Sweens is a super talented dude, and he did the first 2 epilogues for the Ace. Did this one, and then he does the one in volume 2. Super talented guy. So check him out. He's up on Twitter. You can see his work.
Yeah, and check out the Ace's Etsy store or any place else he has his back issues for sale. Because just for anyone that knows me, but maybe isn't familiar with Ace, like me and Ace go back like 5-6 years
Yeah,
now. Like
go
we've
way
both
way
known
back.
each other since like the day one point of all this kind of crowdfunding scene and uh indie scene popping off again. So we're turning into old dude creators now that still working with each other, still talking about comics with each other, and yeah, Ace. I'm just saying, I endorse Ace.
Yeah,
I
and
Ace, I endorse you,
thank you,
just like
brother.
President Clinton endorses China missile secrets. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Uh, so yeah, God, I was gonna make a point, but I totally forgot what it was. Oh yeah, Joe did a cover for the Ace Volume One second printing. Uh, I might have a couple left. I'll have to dig in. I actually have a couple leftover boxes because I have all sorts of issues with the printing. So they sent me like 8 boxes because they had to like resend me stuff because a lot of it came damaged. So I still have a couple boxes. So I have to go through them. But if I do have a couple extra Joe Ball covers, I'll probably put them up next on Etsy. Probably won't be much, maybe 5, 10 at the most. Like I pretty much sold out of all of them. So yeah, you'll see an absolutely fantastic cover. Joe just killed it, and it's also very limited and exclusive. So yeah, stay tuned to the John Aces store. Should be in the description, and you can always follow me at Edwin Aces, like it says on the bottom there. It's in my Twitter account. That's where you'll get all the breaking news and everything that I do. Uh, so yeah, thanks guys. Very much appreciated.
Yes, thanks, gang. Yeah, Shani, she I believe she does. Yeah, she does some color work and things like that. Has some graphic design background. So, a fellow artiste.
Awesome. Yeah, man, we need all the talented people we can get. You know, a
That's
lot of us are
that's the
working on
truth.
books. We got projects. I mean, the hardline alone is putting so much money in artists' pockets. Like, me, Phil, Sim. Well, like we're doing the God's
There's
work here.
yeah, there's no end to the employment you can get out of indie right now. Just
If
everyone
you're if you're
needs some
good,
help.
if you're dependable, and if you're good people, those are the biggest 3 things that will get you constant work. You do good business, and you'll find people who will keep working with you and keep growing as you grow.
Hmm.
So we're trying to create here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So if anybody has any questions about the Ace or any stories or anything, as far as writing wise, these streams don't go too long. We usually keep it to about 45 minutes to an hour. We're just here to kind of talk a little bit of comics and kind of give you some of our thoughts. I've written uh, two, four, probably working on like my 6th script. I have 4 projects that have been put out, and some of them are fashion. A couple more that are going to be put out this year. So, I've kind of started from the bottom and kind of learned how to get to this point where I feel confident in my writing and my storytelling for comics and stuff that I got a lot of that from growing up as a fan and reading, following writers like Jeff Johns, kind of learning a lot from them. And
Yeah.
Joe's just a fantastic artist, storyteller. And he, like I said, that's one of those books that I've seen a lot of stuff behind the scenes that people haven't even seen yet. That's just mind blowing. So I think it's good to kind of have some people who been grinding for a couple of years now, kind of give you their thoughts and kind of break down, what it takes to kind of be a writer and kind of grow and learn. So
Now,
we're here to do.
Ace, what let me ask you this, like for even though we've talked about our projects plenty of times to each other in private, there's still like a certain level of mystery where we don't give each other too much info because who wants to
Yeah,
completely like spill the
yeah,
beans on their own
no,
stuff all
it's
the
no fun.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah, you want to leave a little mystery even with your friends, but I know you know how I am. Like I've kind of got like a general basis mapped out for like 8 or 10 books. It just depends on how how well the filler brings them all together that will dictate if it's 8 or 10. You know what I'm saying? Like, and after that, I'm pretty much done. Like, I'm just going to end the book because I don't think there's anywhere else to go with it. But do you have anything that far ahead where you're like, I'm going to cut it off here and then start back up here? Or is it like you just want to go till like the character's dead? You don't have to say
Uh,
dead, but like to the end. Like once there's an end, there's an end. Or is it something where you're like, I want it to transcend like time and space and just continue like Superman or Batman, and it's just kind of not brought up to the times, but the environment's adjusted so it looks like what people consider normal, maybe 70 years from now or something like that.
yeah, I definitely, the idea is to kind of make this character a long running indie character that, runs for years and years. And I can put out constant issues, that I write and I tell stories about. I do have overarching arcs, like the first kind of chapter in the story is probably gonna end around 4. I think it's gonna be the first 4 issues are gonna be like that first kind of main story, and then volume 5 and on is gonna tell a different story, and then probably be 3, 4, maybe 5 issues each story, depending how long I need to tell, what I need to tell, and then I kind of move on to the next kind of arc. Like I said, Jeff John's a big inspiration. What he did with Green Lantern was just absolutely fantastic. For like
It
10
was,
years,
yeah.
he made
Yeah.
a whole world, not just Hal, just the Green Lantern Corps, the villains, just created this huge world, and it all came together over 10 years. He built it up from the bottom. We just kept going up and up. That's kind of what I would like to do. Obviously, that's reaching for the stars, but why not? I know I put my all in these 2 volume 3s. Are going to be crazy, so much fun. I'm like 11 pages deep on it. Canales just sent me the 11th page, I think yesterday. I got to go through it and see if there's any changes. But yeah, things are rocking and rolling, man. And I want to tell these fun stories about this new kind of hero that isn't really seen too much these days. And want to tell these big kind of space operas, but also kind of have a character that's interesting and has heart and mixes a lot of some of my favorite TV shows and stuff like that. So yeah, man, I want to just keep telling Ace stories as long as I can. I'll dabble in other stuff that'll be fun. I got the Viking story, which I'm hoping to have more done in the next year or two.
Yeah, the
Bloodbone will
Viking
have a
was
new
good.
chapter. Yeah, so like there'll be other stuff coming, but Ace, I want to be consistent. I want to put out at least 1 a year. Hopefully, if he keeps going, I can put out 2 a year and just kind of keep it turning, because Canales is very fast. So I know I can have an artist that can have a quick turnaround, and we can pump them out. Just depends how much the book makes and all that. So I got stories for days, man. So
Yeah,
we can
exactly.
keep it going. So
It's kind of how it is. If you got the money and the help, we could literally, as long as we're making like, I don't know, if people were banking 30 to 40 grand guaranteed every single like book, like no less, it could literally be something where people could have one ready before the next one's even finished. Like always be in a position where you've got one that's ready to go to print. And it's tough because getting to those points is um it's difficult even for some of the big dogs in the indie world, or
yeah,
guys that used to work for DC or Marvel that have now moved over towards indie. I think I saw like some Tim Seeley written books on Zoop that weren't even cracking like, a couple $1,000. And I was just like, geesh, Seeley's a name. Like,
yeah,
Hack Slash is old school 2000s popular still. Like it has its cult following. I was never into it, but I get that, it was a red hot book. I had shops at the time, so I know it was a red hot book. All I was selling was Hack Slash, Chew, Walking Dead. Like nobody, unless it was like, and like Ethan and Johns had pretty much like, I don't know if Johns was still writing Green Lantern at the time, but Ethan had already kind of moved on to doing work on like Flashpoint and stuff like that. So
yeah,
outside of like the one little uh, uh, arc that was coming out from DC, we didn't have like any of the power stuff from DC or Marvel to help drive up sales. It was for a while there, it was almost exclusively like a few indie books with really big names attached, and like Funko Pops and Magic cards. So it is weird when we're Like basically we're out earning guys that are pretty established talents from the big dogs. So can't complain. It's nice that we get these little booms with, you know, independent um, creatives, no matter what field of, you know, entertainment it falls under, whether it be film or music or movies. And you see shit like TikTok and um, some of the other apps just changing the game for musicians. Where, you know, and guys in our position, you know, just YouTube and Twitter alone has got more eyes on my stuff than I could have ever got prior to it. You know, just by trying to do the conventions and stuff like that's grueling. That's why everyone wanted to work for DC or Marvel, because you knew you could get eyes on your work that way. But yeah, we're in a nice little golden age, so we got to maintain it as long as we can and get these characters established. Because I want to see the Ace go on forever too. Like Death can't really go on forever, but even though I wish it could, but I feel like I've dropped enough like characters and other things into those stories to where, like, if I ever really got a hair up my ass, I could just start dishing out like side stories to other people to just expand the universe. But I don't know. I'm always in between on that stuff. You hear that kind of lingo, and it's like, ew, like Star Wars, because we used to love that about it. We hate that
Yeah.
about it. So, you know, it just depends on the context, I guess. But
Yeah, it also depends. Like,
some things just don't need answers. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Some characters just don't need explanation. Part of why we love them is because we don't know anything about them except that they're badasses in this one scene, or says this cool, like stone cold, ice cold remark to somebody, and it's like, oh, he's a Sigma. I just like him because I know nothing about him, and he's cruel and mean.
yeah.
So,
Let's say, hail to Metal Movies and Brewskis. Thank you for joining us, brother.
hey, what up, dude? I like him. Matt's a nice guy to talk to.
Yeah, really, good dude. It's got a sick project coming up. I have to talk to him about that. Thinking about bringing back the Pimp Your Project stream, maybe, you know, month or two.
Yeah,
Just kind of starting this, getting this channel going again. We'll be back for another episode in 2 weeks. I'm hoping to have Phil finally on here. He's been ducking me, but no, he's been busy with work.
That dirty Diaz. How dare he?
How dare he? If not, I might just hit up Branda, force Brandon.
There you go.
Twist his arm.
Draw
I'll
some
be like,
girls' butt while you're talking.
Brandon, I swear, no more seed oils for me for like at least a month. Just do my show. You know, you gotta, you know, play ball with him. So
He'll be like, I can smell the Burger King through the camera. Are you lying to me, Ace?
like, I don't know what you're talking about, Brando. These fries are just good.
I'm gonna look up all the Burger Kings in Massachusetts and see what kind of oil they use. You're like, okay, but I don't care.
He's good like that.
Research time to waste 7 hours on things that just, if you're hungry enough, you're gonna eat it.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, guys, that's just kind of some of our thoughts about this subject. Like I said, I'll be going over the Ace Volume 2 epilogue and kind of expounding more on it, kind of breaking that down. I think I'm doing the Angelique origin story next with Phil. It's a 4-page short story, and Phil, you know, does the Lost Pages. He did a bunch of those 4-page short stories. It's actually the inspiration behind when I did the Angelique origin, plus also the Akula origin, which was in Volume 2. Just these short little stories that give you a background on some of the characters that's taken growth, because both Angelique and Akula will both be big parts of Volume 3, along with Ace. So, you know, all these things kind of measure up together. And my hope is when I can do like a big trade collection of all these issues and stuff, and people read them in order, you know, I can do like Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4 stories, and I can do the 4 epilogues back to back, and I can do the origins back to back, and you'll see the full kind of story, and it'll make sense, and it'll really kind of take it to the next level. So that's kind of my hope with all that.
Well, I think you got your hopes in the right place.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, guys, thank you for joining us tonight. Shani, Accidental Oracle, Metal Movies and Brewskis, Omega. You guys rock. Thank you for joining us on this Super Bowl Sunday. I know it's a crazy day. But yeah, if you want to follow me, you can find me on Twitter at Edwin Aces. I have some links to Joe's Def in the description. Link to my Etsy store where you can grab a copy of Bloodbone, very limited, 19 left only. So you can support those. And Joe, where can they find you at?
You can find me on Twitter. You can either search Joe Ball King Toad Inc. as an incorporated, or you can use my username, which is at Comic Art Master One, and that's the number one. But it's just easier to look up Joe Ball King Toad. You'll find me easy peasy. I'm also on Instagram under my real name, John Joseph Ball, which is typically what I go by, but it's too late for that for Twitter. Um, I'm on TikTok as John Joseph Ball. You can find me over there if you're into the ticking and the talking. That's mostly just art stuff though. Like you're not going to see anything too deep or special from me. It's just cool drawings put with music. And I have a YouTube channel. You can click on my icon or you can look it up. It's Joe Ball King Toad Incorporated. I haven't done much with it lately. I keep telling myself I gotta do it, but it's like I look over like the pop culture news of the day, and I'm just like, I don't know if I can pretend to care about this. Like, this sounds awful. Let's see if I can turn on the newscaster voice.
Look,
Hey
Joe.
there, you dude. You ready to talk about you? You
Look,
ready to talk about the circus?
don't even worry about it. Look, just uh, show your coloring of Def, and then just talk about New Japan Pro Wrestling, and you'll have a hit stream.
Tell the world about our first Lord and Savior and our core one Jesus. But after Jesus comes the second Lord and Savior of Japan, and his name's Kazuchika Okada. All right, I think I see the angle here, Ace. I think I can do this.
I got a question. Did you get a lot Joan Joseph Jingleheimer Schmidt jokes, Joe?
No, I was bigger than most kids, and I don't mean fat. Like, I moved around all the time, so like I was punch the first guy you see in prison kind of person. I went through like 28 schools before I graduated. So no, nobody ever said shit to me.
That's great. All right, guys, this has been fun. I'll catch you on the next one. You guys have a good night.
Take it easy, gang.